Welcome to LGBT+VG, where me and other friends who are of LGBT persuasion have discussions and headcanons about what characters in which video games are LGBT. We're not exactly experts on the matter, we're mostly just a bunch of gay, bi, pan dudes who are LGBT, just talking about which characters we'd like to think are LGBT. And we're not really taking this seriously unless there's like proof in canon whether or not a character is actually bi, gay, or what have you. Welcome, everybody, to the LGBT+VG podcast, the podcast where me and people like to talk about who in a game series is LGBT and or beyond. I am Cheese, as you have seen in pretty much every episode. Joining me today is Flaw. Say hello, Flaw.
Back, bitches.
And with us today is a very special guest, only because they are quite a big a fan of the material as we are of it. Keegan, or Keeg, which do you prefer?
Keeg is fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alright. Now, this series in particular is very prolific. It's almost as prolific as Street Fighter. Some may say maybe even more so. It is the King of Fighters. Now, the King of Fighters, for those who are listening and somehow have never put it together what the King of Fighters is, despite Terry Bogard being in Smash Brothers, it is a crossover between many SNK franchises, including Art of Fighting, Fatal Fury, sometimes Samurai Showdown, and other smaller things like Ikari Warriors, Psycho Soldier, and was there anything involving a Metal Slug?
Only in spin-offs, mostly. But it's also worth noting that King of Fighters also has a lot of original characters in its own in-universe plot.
Oh,
so
boy.
it's not
it's got its own.
It's not just a crossover.
Now, we shall get started. To clarify for those who are listening, these characters are going to be arranged in a very particular order. See, the King of Fighters has teams, not like a Marvel vs. Capcom type of team, but more like if someone knocks out, if someone's KO'd, then tag someone else in.
Point is, characters are generally, but not always, divided into teams of 3. Except for when it was 4.
Let us get started with the King of Fighters 94, with quite possibly the most enduring main character of the King of Fighters series, Kyoku Sanagi and his team, featuring Bennymaru Nikaido and Goro Daimon. Now, what can we say about Mr. Kusanagi here?
He's everyone's favorite fire-wielding high school dropout.
There's the confident asshole like Kyo is, and then there's just fucking asshole like Jin Kazama is.
Yes. The kind of asshole that starts a world war just so that he can kill an ancient demon god.
Yeah, Kyo's a good dude. He's just, as cocky in fights,
He is
wants to
very
heat things.
Seinfeld levels of smug.
Oh, that's good. Oh,
Yeah.
I like that comparison. Based on, interactions, what can we say about the type of people that he's into?
Well, first of all, he actually does canonically have a girlfriend, a character who generally is not playable outside of one or two minor silly spin-offs, a girl named Yuki.
Anytime Kyo has been in Yuki's company, or he's talking to Yuki on the phone, or he's with her on his motorbike or whatever, he always dotes on her and he always wants to impress her. And I remember one of the particular reasons why he was really pissed the fuck off in the Ness saga was not just because they kidnapped him and tried to make a clone army of him, but also because they went after Yuki at one point.
Whatever ways he swings, he definitely loves his girlfriend. So.
Yes.
I think it's
definitely
also...
have that.
I think also this was either in... I can't remember if this was in the King of Fighters Kyo or if it was in that one of those manhwas, but didn't Athena have a crush on him at one point?
Yes, in King of Fighters Kyo, Athena did have a crush on Kyo, but of course maybe we should save that for when we start talking about Athena.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, but anytime this conversation comes up, whenever we have to talk about Kyo, there's always the big red-headed elephant in the room.
Oh
course you
god,
can.
yeah.
First, we'll get to him more when he debuts in King of Fighters 95. But you can't mention Kyo without mentioning his eternal rival Iori Yagami.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like fox and wolf, as I've compared them to in the past.
Oh no, I know exactly where that's going.
I think no matter what way you slice it, whether he's kind of in men or totally into women, I think it's not huge on his priority list. He more just wants to show everybody how great he is. You know, again, smug, cocky asshole.
Yes.
Again, I think it's like I said, it's one of the things that's kind of hard to judge because he's one. I think part of the reason it's hard to judge is because he's, as you said, very dedicated to his girlfriend that he has.
I think that's like the one thing he's doing in the intro for like KOF Maximum Impact. He's in a fucking phone booth talking to her.
That's very cute, actually.
That's really cute. Can we say like maybe like a soft buy, like he doesn't know that he's interested in men, and if he does, it's probably because of something about Iori?
I would say
Iori or Bennymaru, honestly.
Yeah,
him and Bennymaru,
yeah.
him and Bennymaru are pretty close, I think.
There's a fair amount of tension between him and Bennymaru, to be fair, yeah. I would say, I guess my verdict, I feel he's either straight or he's soft bi. Yeah.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Hey, speaking of him, hey, Bennymaru Nikaido. Now, Benny has, like, based on, like, the things that I've seen of him, I haven't played many King of Fighters. I know, like, a ton of the characters. I know, like, just, like, I just know about them and like how they interact with certain other people, mostly thanks to Flaw because he got me into the series. And one thing that I picked up from Benny is that he really, really is like hot with the ladies. The ladies love Benny.
And he's a huge flirt too. Yeah, total womanizer. Or you can see it a lot of games where they have a bit more dialogue. He's got a lot of cheesy lines. That kind of guy.
He loves women. He's a complete playboy, and it often works. He's also comes from a rich family. He's a male model, and he has canonically won the most KOF tournaments out of anybody on the roster.
Which is really funny because every now and then he'll join other teams like with newer protagonists and things. So
I saw like that KOF 15 trailer for him, and there was a comment like right on the top that perfectly encapsulates who Benny is. Bennymaru is the side character who refuses to stay a side character.
Oh god, yeah.
But since we're actually talking about Benny's sexuality, this is not the first time anyone's ever spoken about it. In fact, his sexuality was in question for the first few years of him in KOF. A lot of the fans would ask the developers in like letters, hey, usually because of his inflections in his voice and how he looks, and the developers responded, and I quote, "It's not what you think. Not that there's anything wrong with that."
At least, at least they're upfront with that part.
He's just flamboyant, yeah. The most male attention he ever gives anybody else is typically whenever they tend to steal the spotlight from him, because he loves being the center of attention, and that is where his rivalry with Kyo came into place.
Yeah, because it's mentioned that in the story of '94, the reason they joined is because they actually had like a qualifying tournament where the two of them fought in the finals, and Bennymaru ended up losing.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't just beat Polnareff like that.
Oh yeah.
The influence there is pretty obvious as well.
The last of OG Team Japan, Goro Daimon. Now, there's only one word you can use to describe Daimon. I
would have gone with stoic, but what's yours?
Daddy.
Daimon, we say daddy, first of all, he is literally a dad.
Yes.
And in some number of the later games, he has a kid who, for whatever reason, looks almost exactly like him.
Yes.
What's actually kind of funny, or not really funny, it's kind of sad about Daimon is that for years, he initially scared a lot of women because he was very large and scary looking because of his stature, and that made him very sad in canon for years. Like, he thought he'd never find a woman, and then he eventually did, and she kind of banging, though.
Yeah. We actually never learn her name, but she appears in the King of Fighters Kyo, which we've referenced this a few times. It is a Japan-only PS1 sort of RPG spin-off of the King of Fighters, which kind of takes a story that is partially based around, I believe, 97, but expands on it with a bunch of character interactions and I believe even a few more characters that otherwise weren't in that game.
I feel like that's the kind of person that Daimon respects a lot, is that he doesn't like people who like pussyfoot around, which does explain why he, Kyo, and Bennymaru all get along so well.
Yeah.
He's not one to say much. He's very much the kind of person who just wants to get in and get the fighting to do the talking, which again is very different from Kyo and Bennymaru's. There was much more cocky attitude. He's simply straightforward and here only to show his skills and his strength.
So yeah, Daimon, I feel like he is unambiguously straight, and that's fine. I mean, it doesn't necessarily define who he is. It's just who he is.
He's probably one of the few big grapple boys who is unambiguously straight, because we've come across a few who swing either one way or another or kind of in the middle, but Daimon is very, very straight. Zan gave us a whole conversation, even though Daimon's not necessarily a sumo wrestler. E Honda was also a conversation, kind of.
We came to the conclusion that Alex is a himbo.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no. We've got a lot to say about grapplers, because they exude a very interesting LGBT energy, except for Daimon this time.
Yeah. And speaking of himbos,
luckily,
Terry Bogard.
Hell yeah. Here's the excellent segue. Here's the man we know and love.
Okay.
Terry Bogard from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate also appears in games like this.
Yes. Probably the most famous of the characters featured in King of Fighters. Terry Bogard, who leads Team Fatal Fury alongside Andy Bogard and Joe Higashi. Now, Terry, oh boy.
We did already talk about him during the Smash video, but there's plenty to talk about, so we'll just do it again.
Yes.
All right, yeah, and I wasn't here for that, so.
Terry, I wrote down, he's charismatic, very cheerful, very friendly, he's outgoing, probably one of the most outgoing characters in the series, which is impressive. There are some smiley-faced boys out here.
Yes.
Blue Mary is his canonic love interest / drinking buddy, even though I don't think they ever actually get together.
They have a long time will they won't they going on.
It's an open relationship sort of thing.
That mostly has to do with the fact that Blue Mary is like an actual secret agent, so she can't really tie herself down because of the espionage reasons.
And also because Terry is also one of those drifters, right? He doesn't really find a place to actually settle down until Garo happens.
He's he's like Sonic the Hedgehog that way.
But also, and the reason he does sit down is because of Rock. And I also wrote down he's a good dad. He's a himbo, and finally, Wubba Wubba, he's in the Pink Today boy.
So personally, I'm just gonna say Terry's a pretty solid buy, honestly. That's how I see it. I don't know.
I don't necessarily disagree. I think because I don't think I ever actually said one way or another in the Smash video whether I thought he was straight or bi or whatever. I just said he's a himbo and left it at that.
If Terry is not bi, and it'd be a sad day if it's confirmed that he's not. If he somehow is not bi, he is probably the best ally.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, for
absolutely.
Sure. Again, it's part, and and it goes well with that easygoing attitude of it. Very accepting of people as they are, as long as they're not hurting anybody.
Yes.
Terry really doesn't let too many things bother him, especially if it's a personal quality of yours. The only people he hates are truly evil bastards like Geese.
Yes.
Yeah, and Geese killed his dad. That's kind of a fair thing to hate a guy for, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. So, Terry, he's either bi, because I feel like it'd be sad if he wasn't. I mean, he's a handsome-ass man. Handsome-ass. Look at his KOF 11 art and tell me you're not, salivating.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Or he's the ally that everybody needs.
Yes. Hey, immediately
immediately
downgrading. Hey, Andy Bogard.
Rude. I mean, I'm not saying I disagree, but rude. Let's meet a man who doesn't get as much love as his brother, Andy Bogard. Andy is in many ways quite different from Terry. Whereas Terry learned his fighting style on the streets, Andy went to train with a clan of ninjas. Where Terry is outgoing and laid back, Andy is serious and quiet.
Yeah, he's stoic. He's always like type to want to improve himself. He's more like it's like Terry always gets put in crossovers like with Capcom. He's always next to Ken. I'd say like if Andy was ever in those crossovers, he'd probably be parallel to Ryu.
Ooh, yeah. What's important to note about Andy is that it's not that no one's interested in Andy. There's one person who we'll get to very soon who's very into Andy, but Andy just doesn't have the time. Just doesn't have the time. And I thought for a moment, could it be that he's like Ace? No, because it's just that he just loves being.
It would.
Just loves
it
being
would
a ninja.
explain a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the case either. I do think it's really, really cute though. Really, really cute that that he canonically took up Hokuto Maru as a pupil in one of the older 2000, I think it was 2003 when they said that, because that's the reason they said he wasn't in that game. And in as late as the last game, 14, like there's that cute before fight dialogue with him and Mai, and they're like where they're concerned about Hokuto Maru at home. Like they just live together with this little ninja boy.
Yes.
Yeah, and actually, there's a really funny bit where Mai is like concerned, like, did we leave the air conditioner on? Oh, we should call Hokuto Maru and make sure we turn that off. And Andy's like, could we please just fight?
It's like, no. She's like, no. I'm gonna be thinking about this the whole time now.
Yeah, it's very good.
I also wrote this down. He hates being pointed out that he's short.
Ooh.
Really?
How tall is
he hates that
Yeah,
shit.
He's definitely shorter than Terry.
Okay.
Yeah, he's shorter than Terry. I think that's why.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, the verdict on Andy.
Honestly, yeah. Like, if he's bi or anything like that, he's like really adept at hiding it, like other things.
Like I said, it's one of those things that doesn't come up for him enough apart from his relationship to Mai for me to really put a judgment on.
I think that Andy is trying to become the internet wizard. He only likes women, and he's holding out till the age of 30.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I had a joke where it's like
he
wants to be a ninja wizard.
At the end of the day, he's very dedicated to what he does. That's something you can respect, and I think it's something Mai likes about him. So,
if anything, we'll have to just like softball say that he's straight and move on.
So as we mentioned, he is generally kind of the quieter one. He is generally the quieter one on Team Fatal Fury, because we're about to meet Joe Higashi, who spends all his time yelling.
Oh man, Joe Higashi.
Well, yeah, so Joe started out stoic, and he became goofier as the series went on. And I feel like I'm not going to have another chance to talk about this, so let's just go ahead and get this out of the way.
Okay.
Joe has probably the most unfortunate endings in the KOF timeline.
Oh, I remember you talking about this.
Okay, yeah, so this has kind of been a running gag ever since 2003, I think, is when this started, where, okay, he's on a team with Terry, and usually Terry, and sometimes Andy, where it's like, okay, wow, Team Fatal Fury won, isn't that great? Look at all the fans, yeah. Terry, Blue Mary's like, yo, Terry, you're hot, I love you. And he's like, yeah. And then Mai's like, yo, Andy, you won, you're hot, God. I love you. And he's like, yeah. And then Joe's like, where's my fan? And then it's like, it's this really overzealous male fan, and already you're like, cause gay, right? Gay is funny, and that's all it is. And then it got even worse in like KOF 13, where that same male fan is now apparently like a drag queen, and like that's that ending.
Yeah, Joe got those
like,
awful homophobic, transphobic endings. It's not good. It's not good at all.
Which is so bizarre. No other character has anything like that in KOF. KOF doesn't do shit like that. It's only Joe, cause get fucked, Joe. Which does lead me though into another aspect of Joe's character that I think doesn't get looked at enough. Is that I think that he is kind of low-key jealous of his teammates, because they clearly have people in their lives that really truly love them, and I feel like Joe is just kind of a lonely guy, and like his loudmouth nature is like kind of trying to just deal with that because he doesn't know how to connect with people. There was for a while a hint that he was interested in Billy's little sister Lily, and she was interested in him.
That's still in 14, like at least him.
That's still in there, but apparently I read this, and I don't know if this is true, but apparently Lily isn't wanting to date him now because of the ending of 13.
Oh God.
I
And I'm
don't
like,
remember hearing
fuck. So yeah, verdict. I think Joe is straight.
Yeah.
He's just a lonely boy.
Yeah.
All right, onward to our next group of folks
Okay.
to originate from an previous SNK classic, the Art of Fighting team.
We got the Art of Fighting team with, and I'm just gonna call them as I see them, Orange Ryu, Hispanic Ken, and younger Goken.
It's Italian Ken, by the way.
It's Italian. Oh, I apologize. Ryo Sakazaki, Robert Garcia, and Takuma Sakazaki.
It was like the Ryu connection. It's interesting because it turns out they actually did have the same designer. After Street Fighter 1, he left Capcom and joined SNK. But even though he's compared to Ryu a lot, he's not as similar as you'd expect. He's definitely more outgoing than Ryu, for example. Like,
The thing is with Ryo is that he's only serious like Ryu whenever he's fighting somebody. Whenever he's out of the fight, he's not really that same person.
yeah, he takes fights very seriously, and he takes his training seriously too, but in a more enthusiastic way rather than just as being stoic about it.
He's disciplined, he's kind of old-fashioned, he's kind of blunt too. He also openly admits to not being very talented or smart. He just is where he is because he works really hard. I also like this as kind of like an overlooked value of his character. He's overprotective of Yuri, much like his dad is, but unlike Takuma, because I think like Takuma's just kind of like a traditional pushy dad. Like Ryo, I think, does it because he's still traumatized over Yuri getting kidnapped.
Hey, Ryo is another character who has some level of canon romantic interest with a woman on the women fighters team named King. They have not managed to admit their feelings to each other, despite the urgings of basically everyone around them.
Pretty much, yeah. They're trying to make it a thing, and I think and both of them are just refusing to pull the trigger on it, even though I think both of them know that there's something there.
Yes.
I don't think he wants to push King away because of like him. I think he really just does value like the fighting style more. I think he's just that guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just too much. It's just been a part of his life too much, and his family. It's like it's their main like identity, and they've just never been successful off of it. And he wants to make it respected, and I feel like that's just more important to him.
Yeah,
But he does. I feel like he does love King to some degree. He just he's like I can't.
I'm also not going to pretend he and Robert could be a good thing too. I'm just saying.
Oh no.
they're already like joined at the hip.
Yeah.
I'll get to it later whenever we talk about the other character. Like I think that might make that work. But yeah, these two are, I would say, probably more inseparable than Ryu and Ken.
I like to say that Ryo is bi, but like leaning towards women, because that's like a thing that we bring up sometimes here. That sometimes someone who's bi will have a preference.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, as bi people often do. I do think. I think Ryo, again, it's just another case of he's too traditional for his own good.
Yes.
Not as much as his dad, but we'll get to him.
Yeah, he's coming up real soon.
So since we've already talked about him some, Robert Garcia. As mentioned, he is in terms of inspiration, design, and backstory, he is kind of Ken Masters Take 2.
Yes, except he's Italian and is
instead of American.
And you can definitely see in the types of clothes that he wears that he's definitely using his money in places that isn't just like taking care of his family.
Man owns a Ferrari. So yeah,
anyway,
Robert, very, very parallel to Ken Masters, who we have. Okay, I feel like I'll just go through the comparisons and I'll say how we talked about Ken when we did the Street Fighter episode. It's like, yeah, Robert's a fiery individual. He's very stylish. He's very charismatic. He's also really cocky. He fancies himself a genius. But he's also like a very loyal and righteous person at heart.
Yes.
Ken, I believe we talked about, is Under Armour straight.
Oh God, yeah.
I don't think it's that cut and dry with Robert, but I think it's pretty close.
Yeah, it's close because, like many other characters, many other iconic characters that we've talked about and will talk about, he has a love interest, a named playable love interest who we'll be getting to shortly.
And the dynamics there get all over the place because she's also close to some of these other characters. Spoiler alert, it's Yuri Sakazaki, Ryo's little sister, and also his master is Takuma, Ryo's dad. It's kind of a whole thing.
A whole
Robert is basically just kind of standing in the middle of this family being Robert.
I mean, like, I know they're like boyfriend and girlfriend in the AOF timeline, but like in the KOF, it's like they're pretty much there, and Robert's actively trying to tie the knot, but Takuma's like, oh no.
He's being
How
a,
fucking
he's being
dare
like a
you
kind of-
support my family for years? How dare you?
Yeah, he's being kind of like he's being like a really old-fashioned, overly protective dad over his only daughter, who's also the youngest kid. It's kind of a silly thing.
Yeah, he wants Rio to fuck really bad, and he never wants anyone to touch Yuri. He's that guy. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and so I'm just gonna jump to it right here. Saying Takuma is like the straightest dad alive. Can we agree on that?
Oh yeah.
It permeates his entire.
We'll just knock that
It
one
permeates
out.
his entire
Yeah.
worldview. Yeah, that one's easy.
Yeah, let's
there's
just
no-
get that out of the way right now.
The gayest thing Takuma has ever done was be in a hot spring with Saisu and Heidern that one time. Let's get this out of the way. No, Takuma is probably the most powerful straight man to ever live.
Yes.
Yeah, he's up there.
Like, okay, he deflected a space laser with air.
Yeah.
And why did he do that? Because he didn't want Rio's future wife to die.
Like I've said, like this is admittedly partially because I know someone who writes some fics with them, but Robert and Rio would work well, so I think Robert could probably be bi.
Yeah.
I think more evidence that Takuma is straight is that he's horrible with money.
Oh, that's good.
That's rude. I'm okay with it.
You're not horrible with it.
Yeah.
Takuma has run his own dojo into the ground so many times that the only time that dojo isn't successful when he didn't do it is because someone trashed it.
So onward, we've
So,
mentioned
yeah.
them a few times because all three members of it have connections to people we've been talking about. The women fighters team of King of Fighters 94.
We've got
yeah.
we've got Yuri Sakazaki, Mai Shiranui, and King. Now, let's get started with Yuri Sakazaki with the most important thing to note other than who she's related to or who she's dating. Yuri is a genius.
Absolutely. Yuri is a walking Street Fighter parody.
Yes, but it is worth noting that she is in fact incredibly good at understanding techniques, and that has been shown a number of times. This is partially why she's constantly coming up with new ones, but it also leads to her core flaw of not truly mastering what she learns. So.
She has a Shoryu Reppa, she has a Denjin Hadoken, she has a Shin Shoryuken, she has Sakura's Whirlwind Kick. In 2001, she has a Raging Demon.
But yeah, those wacky guys at ELF gave her one of those. Didn't they?
It's like
Why did we have to do
2001.
that?
It's like, okay, let's take KOF into a new direction, and they're like, no, we're not done shitting on Street Fighter yet.
Oh man.
Yeah, and these days she still has a demon flip. So anyway, general thoughts on the character aside, like I'm going to say one thing that I have like one main reason why I think she might not be 100% straight. Her name is literally Yuri.
No. This is no. I not only do I agree, I'm going to take this a step forward.
Oh,
Yuri
I
is
know
bisexual as fuck.
I know exactly where he's going with this because I remember him
think
talking
she
about
might
this.
even have. I think she might even have a preference for women. I think Robert might just be the outlier.
Yes.
Like, okay, let's go down the fucking list then, okay? She has made it no secret that she really loves being on the women fighters team. Because like she likes being on the Art of Fighting team, especially if her brother's on it. It's just that her dad often doesn't let her do that. It's like, no, you don't do Kyoku in the right way. And he's like, but you're not doing anything, so like whatever. She'll get on the team with the girls. So she asked Mai once, I think in 13, if she would make an outfit for her just like Mai's. And everyone who heard wind of that is like, no! And Yuri's like, yes! and it goes further in the Art of Fighting ending in KOF 13. Yuri is interviewed, and they ask her, what's your ideal boyfriend or husband like? And she's like, let me think. They'd have to be stronger than dad. They'd have to be really nice, really polite. I know, someone like King. And then King like smacks her upside the head for that. And then she follows that up with saying, I would really like King to be in the family. And it's like, she couldn't be more forward if she just took her clothes off.
Yeah.
That's an incredibly good point. Like, and so yeah.
I had a slightly disappointing realization, but it's only disappointing because we will have to be taking it in our direction. The probable reason that Yuri is portrayed this way is because a thing in Japanese culture, specifically when it comes to like teenage girls, is that it's considered very like youthful, very like kind of like, oh, those kids, to be like showing interest in members of the same sex. And Yuri is almost always portrayed like as this youthful young girl who's like, oh, I really love
she's the
girls.
eternal young, even though she's like 20. Even though she's like 20, she's the eternal younger
Yeah,
sister.
like she's her age fluctuates anywhere from like 20 to 24. It's like, no, she's just that girl who never ages.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're getting at with that concern, but also consider this: we're taking this and running with it anyway.
Yes, we are.
So yeah, Yuri, bisexual as all hell.
Yes. Next, someone who is banned from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, along with several others, but she was named Mai Shiranui.
Yeah, he wanted to make sure you knew. Watch them just add her to Smash after the fact.
Now, the thing about Mai is that as much as she's just brimming with sex appeal, as much as she's just like, you know, the
The
sex
fan service
symbol,
character.
it's almost entirely possible she's straight.
This is another time when it's like she's so dedicated to a single person, because we talked about her a good deal with her and Andy being a thing, and like she is obsessed with him. Really, she loves him a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, like that. Like Andy is her Prince Charming.
Mm-hmm.
And with Mai, it's interesting because with Mai, it's weird because I think she's kind of Mai is a cheerful, like, nice person, but she's also kind of temperamental. She's kind of an airhead.
And a little egotistical too.
Yeah, she knows she's hot, and sometimes that comes across as a little vain. But like, when it comes to like her love interest, she gets like humble, sort of. Where like, okay, this has happened on more than one occasion where if she's fighting a guy and they flirt with her, which has happened every now and then, like. Sometimes she will acknowledge how handsome or hot they are, but she's like, yeah, but you're not as cute as my Andy, you know, like she's that dedicated to him.
Yes.
She's like a peppy Yamato Nadeshiko, you know. I think Mai might be. I think she's just straight. I think if there was any interest in women, I think it's very minor.
Yes.
So you could. So like if she is bi, then I'm gonna say it's like a 90-10 in favor of dudes and one specific dude.
Yes.
Right.
Hey, don't let that stop you. She's still SNK's sex symbol. Don't worry.
Oh god.
She's their main girl. We can move on to our last member of the Women Fighters team, a woman known only as King.
Yes. Now, so backstory on King. King is from the Art of Fighting, and she was a sub-boss, and her whole deal is that she was like the bouncer at a bar, and people originally thought, oh, you know, King, it's just this dude, this sharply dressed guy, like just being the bouncer. But if you knock her out a certain way, then like her clothes kind of fly off and she's kind of exposed, and you're like, oh, that's not good. Oh, yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird like old thing, but it was like sort of supposed to be a surprise that she was actually a woman.
Yes.
She was originally meant to be the androgynous character, you know, kind of like Yumeji and Sam Show as well. They did that again with her.
As we mentioned, she's kind of got a thing for Ryo, and it's kind of reciprocated. It's not 100% clear.
She is very embarrassed anytime anyone brings it up, and it's usually Yuri who brings it up.
Because she's been standing there the past 20 years waiting for him to do something about it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, okay, listen, are you gonna ask my brother to do it or not? Because if he ain't gonna do it, I'm gonna do it.
Despite everything, I'm not gonna say she's 100% straight. Like again, like it's partially just because of I think the general style of her is closer to butch than a lot of characters in the series.
I'm gonna say she's
lately so.
I'm gonna say she's pan, actually.
You know? Yeah. I get that.
You'd like to see buy pan out of her.
I'm gonna say pan. I mean, listen. She owns her own bar. She dresses sharply all the time, even if she's not fighting. And have you seen the waitresses at her bar? They all dress sharply like her.
Oh yeah.
Also,
Yeah,
she's a wino. She has to be at least a little gay.
Oh god, you're so right.
Up next, though, let's meet a crossover from another SNK series. This time, not even a fighting game. The classic top-down arcade shooters Ikari Warriors made the jump to King of Fighters and have appeared in way more of those than they ever have their own games.
We got Heidern, Ralph Jones, and Clark Still. Now, let's talk about one eye-patched man, Heidern.
Yeah, I'll admit I don't have a lot of thoughts about him.
Fairness,
because he doesn't appear as much as the rest of them, at least playable. Although he's in the background a lot of plots.
And also, in fairness, there really just isn't all that much to say, because Heidern is a very straightforward character, and that's kind of part of why I like him so much. But in terms of what we're talking about here, Big Boss ain't got much going on. Part of his deal is that he can't really get over the death of his wife and child.
Oh, I didn't actually know that. Good.
Rugal killed them.
Oh, wow.
That's part of why he hates Rugal so much. Yeah. And ever since then, his maid family has been his squad: Ralph, Clark, Leona, Whip, and basically anybody else that he knows on at least a semi decent level. But his squad is his family now, and that's
and
pretty much his whole
even
deal.
then, as far as I can tell, when it comes to personal stuff, he's very closed up in general.
Very closed up. He's cold. I would say he's cold-blooded to a fault.
I'd say most of his dialogue is going to be about the mission and about what the plot and what's going to happen next. He's when it comes to personal relationships, he's got almost nothing that he shows outwardly.
Pretty much the only outward emotion he ever generally shows it's mostly to his squad, and especially to Leona, who he sees as his daughter.
Yes.
So Heidern, I think. I just don't think he's that adventurous of a person in that regard. I think he's straight, but he's sad straight. He's tragic straight.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put these two together at once because Ralph and Clark are they're a thing. We're not gonna pretend they're not a thing, right?
There's a little bit to say.
I mean, in Ralph's case, there's an argument, but Clark, it's the man loves wrestling.
Yes, the man loves wrestling.
If you were looking for your gay grappler, here you go.
Yeah.
since Daimon didn't manage to make the cut.
And also, there's not too much to say about Clark. I don't totally know much about his personality.
Clark is very Clark is supposed to be the blue Oni to Ralph's red.
Okay, that makes sense.
Relatively speaking, he's more cool-headed, but though his penchant for flashy wrestling moves kind of puts a bit of a wrench in that.
Yeah.
I mean, bit of a wild guy to do that sort of thing.
He's really fucking good at it, though, man. He's really fucking good at it, because he in the manga, the 14 manga, which is canon, he fucking beats King of Dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
But it's part of the reason I consider Ralph and Clark to be likely so close, possibly dating, is because ignoring 12 for a second, because that game had so few characters that didn't even bother making canon teams for it. Ralph and Clark are the only two characters who have been in a team together in every single game.
Yeah, they're
never been
probably
separated.
They're the most inseparable. Yeah. That's also, I think that's also a canon requirement. They're in the same squad.
Right, but even then, the squad is sometimes occasionally they switch. At first it was Heidern, but then switched out for Leona. I think Whip goes in and out one time. But Ralph and Clark are ride or die.
They're the
for
pillars.
all eternity.
Yeah. So the only reason I don't think Ralph is 100% gay is because I think he does show a fair amount of interest in Leona. And that's its own discussion as to whether or not she returns those feelings, but we got a ways to wait before we get to Leona.
Oh god, yeah. And I have a specific take with Leona, but we'll get there.
I also really like how he teases Whip like a little sister. He just constantly gets under her skin.
They bounce off each other a lot. It's very entertaining. But
one of my friends is fucking in love with Ralph. She loves this man.
Ralph is between the two of them, Ralph is definitely the more appealing one.
He's also the himbo, so
Yes.
And again, he's the more louder one. He like, and he's yelling a lot. He punches so hard things explode.
And that's just
yeah. I think he is also canonically one of the strongest characters in the whole roster, which is impressive.
I mean, you've gotten hit by Galactica Phantom. You know that.
Flaw
90%.
Flaw kind of like has like a real neat theory about like how Ralph can just like punch things and like make things explode. Like his theory is that Ralph can just do that. Like that's just how strong he is.
Yeah, the common theory was that he just holds grenades when his punches, and he's just so fucking thick-skinned and strong, like he can just tank the hits as he. But I'm like, no, I think he just hits you that hard.
Okay, but have you ever heard the explanation in one of those completely batshit insane manhwas?
No.
Oh, in one of those, I believe what happened that like he literally like absorbed the explosion of a nuclear bomb into his arms, and that's why he can do it.
That's
oh my
weird.
God. Okay. Manhwas do that shit though. I know like Vega has like a demon snake in his tattoo.
That's also the one where the explanation for why Clark wears sunglasses is because he saw, after seeing his entire squad in the army die, he went on a rampage and like brutally murdered everyone who did it, and then like he wore the sunglasses as a sign that he could no longer look upon God's light again. So
oh my
fucking
Jesus Christ!
Holy
They're completely
shit.
insane. I believe there's one where like Jesus is riding a woolly mammoth.
Okay, while that's amazing, that can't be canon. Although it does make his KOF.
Absolutely.
It does make his KOF 95 artwork make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
It's absolutely not canon. Those manhwas are complete nonsense. So up next we have quite a shift in vibe. We have the Psycho Soldiers team.
All right.
As intimidating as that may sound, it actually means that they have psychic powers.
Yeah, they're not in Bisons. Don't worry.
Anyway, we have Athena Asamiya, Shi Kenzo, and Chin Gensai.
So let's preface this first character.
Oh boy, we have to preface Athena.
Get it out of the way.
Yeah.
Athena's name is magic.
Athena Asamiya is, I'm pretty sure, Cheese's favorite KOF character.
She's up there. Like, back when I was first getting into her, I was really into Athena. Now she's easily top 5, but she's not my favorite. I don't entirely remember who my favorite is, but I'll probably remember eventually.
Okay. Well,
you can't be that favorite. Don't remember. Sorry. I'm just kidding. You're
that's
not
a good point.
Yeah, that's a good point.
No, you're not like. So anyway, Athena, is a psycho soldier, as in a team of these basically magical psychic people who fight evil. She fought aliens once in her own game. That was weird. She's also a pop singer at Idol.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. She's gem. She's truly outrageous.
She does a lot, and so she did actually come up in our discussion once earlier.
Yes.
Because in the King of Fighters Kyo, she did in fact have a crush on Kyo.
Athena outwardly hasn't really shown all that much affection to any specific character. The only love in Athena's life and in this juncture are her fans.
Yes.
Right. Again, apart from that crush of Kyo. However, I will say this. Athena is, in all terms of like aesthetics and style, she's a magical girl, and magical girls are just inherently not straight.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you're right.
Like as a concept, so I'm putting her on bi-pan list for that one.
Yeah.
I have no disagreements like concrete. It's just that I cannot think for the life of me any notable interaction she's had with any of the other female cast. Like past one game. Like she was on like the girl team in KOF 2003 since there wasn't really a. Well, no, that game had a women's fighter team too, so she just had her own. So
yeah, but beyond that, it's true that we don't have a lot to go on. But that just means it's our own place to get our grubby little hands over it.
So another thing, you said by pan. I'm going to say pan for one reason that I'm surprised no one's mentioned. Athena is literally the reincarnation of a goddess named Athena.
Yeah.
True. She is actually the current day incarnation of Athena, who starred in her own SMK game years back.
Not only is she a reincarnation, her powers are only a fraction of what the goddess Athena is capable of.
Yeah, Athena. It's the same incarnation, but it's not the same person. You know, it's like I don't think she knows she's Athena. She's just, I'm Athena, not that one. So it's like it's kind of confusing, but like it's kind of why Athena can't really ever be in the main spotlight of the plot of KOF, because I think she would just kind of end things. You know?
Yes.
She could end up overpowered if they did more with her.
If she
she is in the KOF 14 manga to a significant degree, and it shows that she's on a comparable power level as Kyo, which is super impressive. Kyo is fucking busted.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on to her teammate.
Oh, good. Ooh, let's talk about Kenzo.
Right.
Okay,
Look, Kenzo,
so
I love you. I actually wrote a pretty long fic about him once, but Kenzo. It was actually one of my first fics ever. I have good memories for me. So with that in mind, he's a character I like a good deal and spend a good amount of time within my mind. He's Athena's like #1 simp.
Yes.
No,
long time a over the top love for Athena that is probably not reciprocated, but he's not over it. He's not gonna be over it. He's just the boy who's put all his hopes into being with Athena, and it's probably not gonna work out for him. And I feel bad for him. And in fact, my fic was literally about him moving on. But
oof.
I have written this down about Mr.
Okay.
Kenzo.
All right. Hit us.
He's a very goofy and jovial person, lazy, youthful. Athena is either entirely oblivious to Kenzo's affections for her, or she just chooses to ignore it or downplay it because it embarrasses her. But that being said, he is forever doomed to the friend zone. He will never be together with Athena. Athena and Kenzo's special versus theme in KOF 14 is literally a song about a boy missing out because he can't make his feelings known to the girl that he loves. Here lies Kenzo, he never scored.
Next up, Shin Gensai, their master, tiny drunken master, emphasis on drunken.
Yeah.
Chin is funny to me because he's the old man character, but he's also the drunken character, and everyone respects him, but he's like a weird old man who's drunk all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's kind of a goofball, and he knows it.
He is. I do appreciate that. Like, I also really like how he's really, really good at getting into people's heads. He did that a lot in KOF 13, and a lot of people didn't know how to handle it. But it is canon that he is married, and
yes,
apparently his wife is... Yeah, apparently his wife is, like, or grandma, as he calls her, like, apparently she's a badass. I don't know.
I'm not sure if he's saying that because she's actually strong, or if she just kind of, has him down when she can. Like, she might be fierce as I she's a fierce wife, or we don't know much about her. We don't know her name. I don't think we've seen her.
They also adopted Bao.
I actually didn't know that.
Oh, he is in fact Chin's adopted grandson.
Yeah.
All right.
So
but
yeah, we know he's married. He may be straight. Maybe he's had some interesting experiences. We'll never know. He's had a long life.
Yeah. Now we get to
onward to Korea.
The Korean team with a very interesting crew. Kim Kafwan, ChangChoi Han, and Choi Bunje.
I think it's Bongye.
Bongye, that sounds more correct.
I don't know Korean, so I'm a little lost.
I think Chang's is Kohan.
Kohan, okay, that also sounds correct. Now,
so,
all right.
Our guy Kim he's a strong taekwondo fighter, a determined man, but he also has a tendency towards being a little too dedicated to his idea of justice.
Let's go ahead and get this out the way. Kim is that uptight conservative dad that you know.
Oh my god. Oh.
I don't want to lean into that, but he kind of is. He's focused on justice, and what that apparently means to him is taking two criminals and forcing them to train. And it's also worth he is just straight up married and has 2 kids who in Mark of the Wolves, where time actually passes, they become fighters in their own rights.
Yeah, he gave birth to he and his wife had 2 kids, Leonardo and Raphael.
Don't do him like that.
Oh, man.
It's true.
I mean, for one, Dongwon's much more of Michelangelo.
Yeah, Kim's weird in that he was only allowed to do his weirdo like rehabilitation thing in the first place is because he's already such a highly respected and revered like hero figure in Korea for how good he is at Taekwondo. And make no mistake, he's super fucking strong.
Yeah, he definitely has the strength and the talent to back it up.
He's just kind of like a goofy person, though. I mean, he's not a joke. He just takes his entire ideals and righteousness and all that way too seriously. It kind of blinds him to his own actions, which is the entire joke with him, Chang, and Choi.
When people are talking about Taka from Danganronpa 1, when people are like not totally understanding what his character is like, they're more describing Kim Ka-fwan.
So next up is Chang and Choi. Now, Chang and Choi they're another group of characters I tend to pair together. That like they're very much Chang and Choi, like as a group. That's who they are. Like in fact, in Capcom vs SNK 2, they made Chang playable, but also just gave him an assist with that where Choi would jump out and do attacks too.
Now, it's very important to note that Chang and Choi, we're making them sound like, oh, they're fun, they're happy, they're cool, and also they're kind of criminals that Kim rehabilitated. No, Chang is a very violent criminal who swings around a giant ball and chain and horribly injures, if not kills people. And Choi is a serial killer.
Oh yeah, they're both awful people. They're straight up murderers. Like that is
yeah,
not...
but they're taken with such light tone anytime they show up. It's like you'd be mistaken for thinking they were just like Bulk and Skull.
Yeah.
Chang is weird. Because I think both with these are weird. Because like, yeah, you could easily think, okay, yeah, these two are gay. Absolutely, they're never they're always by each other's side. But like, I don't know. I've been finding some weird stuff out. Apparently, if you go to like the wiki page for Choi, apparently he has a wife and kids, and I'm like, I don't know about that. He apparently has a wife and a child, and it's like, but I myself am operating under the "pics or it didn't happen" rule because I can't find any info.
This is a source, and it literally says never mentioned. Like, come on, if it's not mentioned, it doesn't exist.
So, but like, okay, and then Chang, it's like, okay, I think SNK actively wants to ship Chang with Leona.
Oh no, we'll get to that very soon.
Is that a ship, or is it just an ongoing?
No,
I personally think there's something there, which is funny to me.
But we will get there.
Chang is, he's a destructive, violent person. He's just sort of silly, lethargic. He's also kind of really stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
I don't want to call Choi the brains of the outfit, but he kind of is.
By default, unfortunately.
By default, and it's like, and Choi's just like a weirdo theater kid.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
He adds... Apparently in the English localizations, when Playmore was doing that back then, Choi would just add the word buddy boy on the end of everything, so it's like, okay.
So we've been through all these iconic characters who would appear in the series constantly. So up next, we're going to take a break from that and hit up these assholes. Here's the USA Sports team, a team made up of Heavy D, a boxer, or Lucky Glauber, a basketball player, and Brian Battler, a football player.
Now let's just
show up in this game and then show up once more, and then other than that, they're made a running joke that their invitations to KOF keep getting stolen, and they're basically nobody compared to everyone else.
Also, not only that other game they appeared in was a dream match, so it wasn't even canon.
Oh yeah, not actually canon.
Now let's just get Lucky and Brian out of the way, because there's more to say about Heavy D than there is to say about the two of them put together.
I wrote down notes for Lucky and Brian, and I think that, if you would allow me, I think this is all you need to know about either character.
Alright.
Lucky. He's always smiling, he's very cheerful, he's basically Hakim from Game of Death.
Ooh.
No, he's just straight up Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah,
and I don't know. Look at him. Can you tell he likes basketball? I think it's subtle.
The only thing he likes almost as much as basketball is karate for some reason.
Yeah, you could never be able to tell, but apparently he's a karate champion. I don't fucking know. Brian Battler. Brian Battler. He's very brash, kind of a brute, light speed stupid. His animations are kind of amazing for how ridiculous they are.
Oh god, yeah.
And the last bullet point, the worst. He's the worst.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. He's just Johnny Maximum, but bad.
Ooh, that's a reference.
And that's not even a reference. Apparently, that's a design note. They wanted to just put Johnny Maximum in, but not the same character, so they had to downplay that design. So he's just he's diet Johnny Maximum.
Now, what can we say
So
about
let's get to the actual cool character of this team.
Heavy
Granted,
D.
I think those guys being dumb goofballs makes the team fun, but
Yes.
I mean, I do too. It's just that, yeah, they're dumb.
there's not much to say about them. So let's meet Heavy D, named after a rapper, by the way. So.
Yes, Heavy D.
and the boys.
The only cool character in this team.
Every other time I see someone talk about American sports team, they either say bring all of them back or just bring Heavy D back. Again, as cool as he is, there's also just not much there.
Yeah.
You know, they never got a chance to go into these characters because they only showed up once.
Yes.
So we only have to go by the small character things. So it's like, he has a pet cat named Pooh.
Ooh.
And he's also apparently, like, he was so good at boxing, apparently he almost killed somebody in the ring, and that's why he kind of, like, joined KOF, because he wanted to, like, have a different avenue for his skills as a shadow boxer.
So the opposite of Balrog.
Yeah, it's like he actually felt bad about what he did. So I think Heavy D, it's not your typical look for a large African-American boxer in the 90s, so...
Yeah, they actually made him look
I don't
cool.
know.
Good for him. Cool and unique. I like it, especially his jacket. He's got this really stylish jacket with like this cool eagle pattern on the back. But we're all going into this because we can't actually answer the question on these guys because they're so little developed. Next.
Yeah.
Next.
We go to them to a very loaded discussion.
Oh boy, Rugal Bernstein, the boss of King of Fighters, and quite possibly one of the more infamous of the SNK bosses trope.
I would say it's like when people think SNK boss, they're thinking of Rugal most of the time.
Yeah.
Or possibly Omega Rugal more so, but it's the same character, just the powered up version. Anyway, but besides how cheap he is to fight as a boss and how weirdly underwhelming he is to play in King of Fighters 98, kind of ironic there. He's evil as hell for one. He is the original King of Fighters villain.
Yes.
And the final boss of both King of Fighters 94 and 95, and in both the 98 and 2002, well, not canon, he is the final boss of those as well, because they just like him that much.
He was originally designed in his design docs to be, quote, the cheapest bastard ever.
Yeah.
I think Rugal is a very, like, they just wanted to make the most evil person imaginable or start off. It's like, no, he's a big deal, guys, for real. He's, like I said earlier, he killed all of Heidern's squad and his wife and his son. He regularly trades. He runs the black market. Apparently, that's what it was. It's an organization, the black market, and he owns all of it, or some shit like that. He sees absolutely no value in human life. He's arrogant. He's sadistic. He's also a fucking sore loser. But he has a pet. He has a pet panther, and he fucking loves being evil. It's like he relishes in it. He doesn't really care to show you. He has like a macabre gallery of like his defeated foes encased in metal, like they were fucking Han Solo or some shit.
It literally douses them in liquid metal to turn into a statue. He is as evil as it gets.
One of his
somehow through this all he apparently
somehow he
has two kids.
Yeah, I was about to get to that. Yeah, Rose and Adelheid.
This man's so evil, one of his normal special moves is just called the Genocide Cutter.
His likes are listed as having an evil heart.
God.
I forgot about that.
This is one villain ass character we're talking about. You get what we're doing? We get where we're going with this?
He is a bad guy, as Zangief would say.
To quote Mr. Plinkett, he's fucking evil and he loves it.
Yeah. He is essentially the Palpatine of this universe.
Right. As I've mentioned, he does have a son and daughter. We never see if he was married or if they were out of wedlock or something. I don't think we ever see their mother.
In fact, I think because like I said, he doesn't really value people's lives. He only cares about himself and getting more power. I think the only implied relationship he has ever had with any other character is I think it's implied that when he was alive, him and Mature were kind of a thing because she was his secretary.
Yeah, Vice and Mature were his
So-
secretaries, but I don't know if there was anything more than that other than.
No, definitely not.
I know Rugal specifically remembers her because he's one of the souls inside Verse in KOF 14. So if you have Verse defeat Mature, he goes like, "You can be my secretary again. What do you say?" Or something like that.
I think he says that to Vice too. I'm not sure about that.
I think it's just Mature. Probably straight, but yeah. Close
But
to
too much of a fuck.
relationship.
But also too much of a fuckhead to have actual relationships with anyone.
Yes. With that,
We have wrapped up the King of Fighters 94.
all it
Or
took.
certainly the longest time we'll spend here.
All it took
took us
was
an
an
entire
hour
hour.
and 35 minutes. Thankfully, the next one, King of Fighters 95, only has 4 new characters. Unfortunately, the very first of the 4 original characters is a very loaded discussion, so let's just get in there. Leading the Rivals team is Iori Yagami, followed by Billy Kane and Eiji Kisaragi. Now, how do we talk
Iori
about...
Yagami
Fucking Yagami, though.
How do we talk about Iori?
Perhaps one of the series' most prolific characters, being introduced in 95, so that's the second game. He is introduced as Kyo's rival and has appeared in every game since. And he's his rival not just out of a class of personalities, but because he is the descendant of a bloodline that they are in a 1,000-year blood feud. So there's that.
He's the character that when Masahiro Sakurai saw him, he was like, whoever designed him was a genius.
Yes, because he is a legendary character design, immediately iconic, possibly even in some polls has ended up more popular than Kyo, I believe.
Everyone fucking loves this asshole. Everyone loves him.
And he is an asshole. Don't get me wrong.
He's serious. He's
he is-
blunt. He's a rude.
He's
Yep,
brutal.
he's absolutely an asshole. He is
a brutal
he's rude
fighter.
to everybody.
Of course, like the key here going to be his relationship with Kyo.
Yeah.
Because on some level, he is obsessed. It is important to him, and it is probably the person he thinks about the most. And while he claims to want to kill him, he never pulls it off to the point where it almost seems like he really doesn't want to. And I believe even King of Fighters 14, Tung Fu, either him or Chin, one of the old guys, directly calls him out on that.
Yeah.
And the Kyo and Iori thing really just stemmed on more in the later games. It wasn't an immediate thing in 95. It just kept going and escalating.
Yes.
And I also found this out, doing some research. Apparently, in the KOF lore, anywhere between KOF 95 and 99, Iori had like a girlfriend that he seemingly broke up with at some point in between one of those games.
Huh.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've heard mentions of Iori's unnamed girlfriend.
And that's not like a Choi. No, you just never see them. No, this was apparently a thing in like the Iori drama audio CD, which was a thing in his canon apparently, because that's where we also found out that apparently one of the reasons why he's so fucking violent all the time is because he's being constantly poked by like Orochi, like to just be violent. I wrote this down when it came to Iori. I wrote this down. It's like here's how much people gravitate towards him. It's like he murdered Mature and Vice, and they still want his dick.
Yeah.
And that's not just one game. They've done that twice now. And
Yes.
he hates Kyo probably more than any other character hates anyone else in KOF, and I think even if you asked him why at this point, he couldn't tell you. We do have to mention the SNK Heroines ending, do we not?
Oh my god, we do.
Do we have a final verdict on Iori?
I know like as much as Miss X was initially just as sort of a joke thing. And I definitely have friends who are like, as usual, we take it and run with it. Have Iori be gender fluid, and Miss X is something he prefers to present as from time to time.
I feel like no matter what way you slice it, whether you call him bi or pan or ace or gender fluid or what have you, because I think you can make a case for any of those really. I think I would personally say he's probably pan. I think no matter what way you slice it, or I guess I'd say he's either pan or he's ace. I think either way he just doesn't care all that much.
Yeah, that's...
He just wants to be his own thing. His entire thing is that he's sort of a lone wolf.
But at the same time, he does also have a very strong obsession with Kyo, so that's something you can definitely read how you will.
He has very strong feelings about Kyo. He never turns down Mature and Vice. He's got a lot going on.
I mean, there's not much he can do about them. He's literally just being haunted by them at this point. They're straight up ghosts now.
I suppose so.
Billy Kane.
Probably the most recurring henchman of one Geese Howard, who we'll be getting to soon.
Billy Kane was another character who was introduced in Fatal Fury, and as the main henchman of Geese, he shows up on this rival team because he's technically a rival to Ted. He's British, which is, I know, it's already a knock to some people.
That's right. He's
British.
No, what?
He's loud and brash, and very much a guy who will pick a fight and just get riled up, really.
He has some of the best taunts in KOF. I love it.
Go to hell.
I would say Billy's pretty no nonsense. I would say he would be straight, but then I remembered one of his likes is doing laundry.
Yeah.
So, Also, he fucking hates smoking.
He does. Yeah. It's really funny that he hates smoking, but he also is hanging out with Iori, who is a smoker.
No, he is not hanging out with Iori anymore, sir. He fucking hates him now.
Okay.
That partnership lasted
exactly one game.
Because basically, as soon as the ending happened, Iori just beat the snot out of both him and Sister
and EG, yeah, and he basically left them both for dead, and now they both fucking hate his guts.
Okay.
So I don't know on Billy. I think he might just be straight, but again, no straight person should enjoy doing laundry that much.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I'm not gonna say he's like gay for Geese, because I think he really does see Geese as more of a father figure.
Yes.
Otherwise, though, he's a pretty straightforward character, so it's not much to say. Onward to AG Kusanagi,
an even more straightforward character.
Team. Basically, just kind of a ninja who doesn't like Rio and fights him sometimes. There's really not much to go on for him, but maybe that's just I don't give a shit.
The entire AOF backstory for him is that he's part of a fearsome ninja clan, and the only other major martial arts fighting family that his clan hadn't toppled in their area was the Sakazaki family, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
If you thought Andy was just dedicated to being a ninja, this guy's just dedicated to being a fucking ninja. That's what I'm saying.
There just isn't really much to say. It's like he's often the butt of jokes because of how little he's fleshed out, and I'm like, that could be fixed if you just fleshed him out.
Yeah, but I don't like him enough to care. So.
The only other note I put down here is that apparently fans like to ship him with Mai due to a translation gaffe, and I'm like, but then I remember, well, hold on a second. EG's very tender.
If you say so.
Oh, EG, teach me how a man loves a woman, because Andy sucks.
Yeah.
And with that being the only fully new team in King of Fighters 95, and all the existing teams retaining their previous composition, and the boss of this game being Rugal again, but more mad, there's just one more character to add, a sub-boss character. Kyoku Sanagi. That's right, it's Kyo's dad.
Yes, Kyoku Sanagi. Quite possibly, up there, either top 5 or top 3 of the strongest King of Fighters characters, alongside Takuma.
Kyoku is very strong. He seems to have a lot more background presence in the plot nowadays. He's been mentioned he was mentioned in KOF 14 a lot, and he's being mentioned, as far as I know, at least again in KOF 15, as for what little that we know of that game so far. He also has a wife who he really loves, and apparently he's also terrified of her because she's really strong, apparently.
He's more mellow than Kyo, but he still has kind of that arrogance to him.
Oh yeah, he's like the same guy, just a lot more laid back and mellow. He's just he's kind of over it all because he's seen so much.
Straight.
Yeah. Old.
Yeah,
he does seem a bit old-fashioned, but not to the level of Takuma. But he could be pretty straight.
He's got a gay ass beard, but yeah, he's straight.
Yeah, that's legit. That's true.
That might have changed my opinion, actually. But yeah. Anyway,
that is 95, and then we go to 96, and quite possibly one of the more loaded discussions we're gonna have, Leona.
Leona Heidern, adopted daughter of Heidern, whose last name no one knows.
Now, we're going to have quite a discussion with her, but I'm just going to start it off right now. Leona is quite possibly one of the few fighting game characters who, in their attempts to make her sex appeal more, they've instead also made her much scarier.
Yeah, you know what? I see it.
Yes.
Yeah, Leona has always been a practical, very no-nonsense person, just like her adoptive father, Heidern.
Yes.
Problem is that she's also been in the forefront of the plot more than he has. She's been in this conversation more than I think he'll ever will be. Because everyone loves Leona. Everyone loves this character.
Leona is one of the more popular female characters.
Leona's really interesting because she's not very emotive. She's very silent. She doesn't really talk to anybody outside of her like squad. But in the very rare instances that she does, her words count.
Yes.
Like she belittles Iori for not being able to control himself when she's actually made more steps to do that than he ever has.
Right, because I believe we didn't quite touch on this as much as we could have with Iori. Iori and also Leona, we'll get to. They have, I mentioned it, they have the blood of Arachi flowing in them. But what this does is that this can cause them to turn into, they can lose all sanity and become just crazy murder beasts, more or less.
Complete monsters, yeah. Like Leona almost murdered Ralph and Clark in that state by accident.
It's worth noting that when Iori and Leona go into their blood riots, they're both incredibly feral, but Leona even more so, straight up running on all fours.
Yeah.
It's kind of horrifying.
Iori like loses all of his posture and everything, and he just looks like a guy ready to snap and like a beast. But like Leona is actually on all fours.
Yeah, like if you look at like the sprites, the way they did this, they did a great job like really bringing it out in their animations.
Yes,
absolutely. We've said all this, we've prefaced all of this about how interesting a character Leona is, but what about her sexuality?
Now, I'm going to note another thing, and it's something that you brought up like a long while ago, and I just so happen to remember. In SNK Heroines, for various plot reasons, which is funny because that game barely has one, the big bad of the game basically kidnaps a bunch of SNK girls and just makes them fight each other in skimpy outfits for his amusement. And there are a few characters who either don't get a new outfit because their outfit's like already like pretty sexy and it's like, oh, just wear that, or they get an outfit and they are totally okay with it. And one very notable one is Leona, who is just in a bikini with like little cat ears and cat paws on her hands
and feet
and feet.
And she has absolutely no issue with this whatsoever.
It put the thought in me and Flaw's head that she might have a fetish for like being like under the control, like not like mind control, but like being subservient to someone.
There is actually, this is why I'm gonna ring this around to the Chang discussion, because people were like, what the fuck, why those two, right? And they think it's because of the bug, because in one of the KOF games where she, like the intro animation, she'll belittle Ralph in one of them, but she'll salute Chang, and everyone think, oh, that's backwards, that must have been a mistake in coding. No, apparently not. The developers, when asked about this, said that was Leona's way of saying that she respects true power, whatever that means, because they never really elaborate on that. She's like, I think Leona likes, I think Cheese is onto something. I think, yeah, this is just further proof of it. I think Leona is really into being like submissive. So that being said, I think Leona is I'm gonna say she's either pansexual, or probably more likely, I think she's bisexual with a male preference.
That second one sounds a little more like accurate.
Yeah, so I think she's down. I think she's down with it.
Yes. Next, we have a very interesting character, Kasumi Todo.
Do you want to rescind the very interesting part?
Oof.
Yeah, like Kasumi's like she's fun, but she is originally from Art of Fighting 3. She is the daughter of a character who we only know. Well, actually, no, we do know his full name, Ryu Hakutoto, who is a sort of like rival to Takuma, and so Kasumi kind of opposes Ryo and the squad. But she's just kind of an upbeat martial artist girl, straightforward. Or she's another one of those characters who kind of appeared in the series to flesh out the playable roster, but doesn't have too much in terms of development of the plot. But she's made a number of appearances.
As cute as she is, she really just, again, it's another case with like Iji. It's like she's an Art of Fighting character who just never really got all that fleshed out past that series, so she doesn't really have a whole lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't really have much to say about her personally.
Me calling her interesting is more or less just justification of me basically saying like, oh yeah, I just think she's really cute.
You know what?
Yeah, that's fair.
You're a smart and valid person, and I'm very glad you told me.
Yeah.
There is one issue. There is one character thing I did find out about Kasumi that is kind of cute, because I don't think... Because, like, language with SNK is weird because everybody just speaks Japanese anyway, no matter where they're from. But, like, apparently, canonically, Kasumi is trying to learn English.
Ooh, that's cool.
Good for her.
All
So
right.
up next, we have another character, or pair of characters, who generally get brought up as a duo, Mature and Vice. Which,
Oh,
good God, those are names.
The loaded
Now-
conversations are still coming.
Here's the thing, though. No, only one of these is loaded. The other one is not loaded at all. We already know what the deal is. Mature is
That's true.
100% confirmed canonically bisexual.
Oh, cool.
I'm pretty sure
oh,
you're
that's
thinking
right.
of Vice.
You know what I do like about Vice, though? She specifically hates old men.
Yeah.
Like, that's a point of contention. She fucking hates old men only. And I'm like, huh. And
Maybe
apparently the entire reason why is because... Or maybe it might not be the entire reason why, but it's a big reason why in canon that we know of, is that when she was... Because she's the one who brainwashed Saisyu in 95 so that he did Rugel's bidding and all that. She was the one who did that. Apparently Saisyu put up a huge fight, and like it wasn't easy for Vice to do that, and that's why.
Mhm.
She's like, how dare you make me try harder?
I like to think that another reason why is because she's read one too many ugly bastard dojins.
Yeah,
my
you know
God.
that'll do it. Point is Mature and Vice are fancy dressed ladies who are in no way anywhere close to straight.
I
Yeah.
fucking love that Vice is a fucking comic book nerd. I love that.
yeah.
Yes.
And she likes SpongeBob, apparently.
Oh god, yeah, she does.
So yeah, Mature, bisexual. Vice, probably bisexual with a female preference.
All right, now we have the villain team, and I'm not going to even introduce the other two like one after another because we are going in on this first dude, Geese Howard, the king of Southtown, the strongest weeaboo in fighting games.
For those unaware, he is the villain of the first Fatal Fury and a police commissioner turned crime lord. I mean, that's not a long jump. Whose actions basically kick off SNK's fighting games as like a story with Fatal Fury, where he is the one who killed Terry and Andy's father, Jeff Bogard. But the thing is,
Now-
for whatever reason, even though Geese died in Fatal Fury canon, he's still alive in King of Fighters. We don't really think about why.
I can tell you what the reason why is. Like, yeah, he's alive in KOF, he's dead in Fatal Fury, and the reason why is that the developers fucking forgot.
Oh god, yeah.
Oh yeah, the team working on King of Fighters '96 didn't realize that they actually meant him to be
They
like
did
actually
not know,
dead.
and they're just like, roll with it.
Yeah, and so they did.
Yeah, and I'm glad they... I mean, it's not like it makes too much of a difference in the context of this discussion, but yeah. So Geese Howard, I was actually thinking about this, because I actually didn't, because, like, I thought the answer was straightforward, because I'm like, I think it's another case like Iori. I don't think he cares that much. Because he has a wife, like Maria Howard, the mother of Rock and all that, but he very clearly in canon was shown to not care much for her at all. Like, he didn't lift a finger to help her when she was dying of a fatal illness.
Oof.
Yeah, he didn't do shit for her.
So Rock's got good reason to hate him.
Yes.
And I would like to think that marriage was probably just a marriage of convenience. So, like, I would like to think that if Geese was into a lady, she'd have to be the baddest bitch on the fucking planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't see Geese as gay, though.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just me.
neither.
Again, he's another character who's hard to talk about that sort of thing because he has so few like vaguely positive relationships with anyone. He only thinks about himself.
It's pretty much just Billy, and that's very much an adoptive son sort of thing.
Yes.
Yeah, like up next is our guy
Wolfgang
Krauser.
Krauser.
I'll chisel your gravestone. Sleep well.
Notable for
the boss in Fatal Fury Special.
Man,
Special
I fucking
kind.
love this guy. Bring Krauser back. Krauser is no fucking joke. Krauser is also one of the least shitty boss villains in SNK history. It's like after Terry beat him,
he kind of just went back to his mansion and just trained some more and just like kind of did his own thing. He kind of just fucked off after Terry beat him.
I believe he is still technically a crime lord of some sort, but also he's much more honorable man than Geese. He's not like a constant murderer. He's got much more of a chivalrous personality to him.
He actually is a villain who does train for self-improvement rather than just power. In fact, in the 96 ending for the boss team, like we're talking about here, while Geese and the other boss, which we'll get to in a second, were like pretty much just like, haha, I tried to kill you. It's like, oh yeah, but you didn't. I'm gonna kill you later. And then Krauser's just like, ha ha ha, this was fun. I'm gonna go back to my castle.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he kind of didn't give a shit at all. Well, I think Krauser's interesting because this doesn't get brought up enough. How important Krauser is to KOF lore. Rugal ripped Krauser off.
Oh.
Like, most of Rugal's moveset is Krauser's moveset.
Oh, right.
Including the fucking Kaiser Wave.
Right, because, he took Kaiser Wave, I believe, like, a number of other things.
Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure one of the reasons why is that they fought before, and I'm pretty sure it was either a draw or Krauser won. I'm not sure which. So, Krauser's a big fucking deal. Now, Krauser's probably one of the only one on the boss team you could probably make a case for just to not be straight, because, I mean, look at him.
Yes.
That's fair. He's kind of a bear. His voice actor is a man named BJ Lowe, who is a legend, just for what he does. Just for what he does.
Man, I love that!
I was just gonna say that, like, Krauser's a man who's built, like, a brick house with a whole bunch of scars and is, like, super cool looking, but he's also got, like, like lavender purple hair and a lavender purple mustache. So
speaking of, there's no discussion to be had. Mr. Worldwide himself, Mr. Big.
Mr. 305 himself, Mr. Big.
Pitbull.
Mr. Pitbull, yeah.
Mr. Big,
very renowned womanizer.
I didn't even know that about him. See, I think about this guy so little.
He's got the fucking hoe train in his intro animation.
I don't play games with Mr. Big in them. Do I look like I played 96?
No, he's in 98.
He's in 98 UM.
That's the one I played.
Not even in the original 98. Maybe I'll see him if that game ever gets updated with rollback.
Oh man, I hope so.
Oh man.
Play KOF 98, you fucks.
Yeah, and now we have one of Flaw's big favorites, Chizuru Kagura.
Plot-wise, she is the third of something we probably should have started explaining by now, the three sacred treasures. Essentially, they're represented by Kyo, Iori, and Chizuru.
I love Chizuru.
There you have it, folks.
I love this. I love this character. Bring her back, please.
She's a very pretty lady.
I really hope that that's the team in KOF 15. Kyo, Iori, and Chizuru. They need to bring that team back.
Three Sacred Treasures team? I could
because I don't think it's ever canonically been like the team that entered KOF for a year. It's just always been like a first year. It's always been like an additional team you can get, but like
if you pick it yourself, if you pick it yourself, I believe in 97, if you pick it yourself, you get a special ending.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the canon ending actually. Chizuru is like also really strong because she didn't have a team. She entered as a solo entrant. And very pretty. She's very successful. Apparently, she runs her own company.
I mean, she had enough to run a King of Fighters tournament.
That's true, yeah. And she's basically the mom of Kyo and Iori, whenever those two are at each other's fucking throats all the time, she's the one who's like, hey, dipshits, cut it out. We got a job to do.
Yeah, if they need to work together, she can usually kind of wrangle them and pull them towards point them towards the same enemy.
Because they both respect her. Even Iori respects her. And Kyo respects her too. And it's like, she's more important to. She's one of those characters that's really important to the plot, but almost in a background sense, where like she's only been playable in 2 games. Now, Chizuru, classy lady as she is, what's your verdict on how she does things?
And that's again, she's not a character I'm as connected with as you. So maybe you should lead the discussion here. I
think Chizuru, again, it is tough. I think she's either straight or she might be bi with like a male preference. I know for a while they kind of teased her with Shingo for a minute.
I don't think
That's kind of
anything ever
hilarious.
came of that. It is kind of, it
Yeah.
is hilarious, but like, I don't think they're gonna do anything with that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a huge thing to begin with, so maybe. She has been on after this, after '96. She was in the women fighters team in '97.
Right. She joins
right?
Mayan King because Yuri goes to the art of fighting team and Takuma took a year off.
Yeah, which I don't feel like they talk about enough. But, like that's cool, but yeah, I say my verdict is that she's either straight or she's bi with a male preference.
My take about Chizuru, it's the only thing I'm gonna say. She's a woman that likes motorcycles, so she can't be straight.
Yeah, you know what? That's fair. You're very
Yeah, man, I fucking forgot that. Yeah. You know what? She should have a motorcycle race with Ryo, because he also likes motorcycles.
Most female characters in media who love motorcycles are also almost never straight. All right, now probably
Next is
probably the most difficult discussion, not because there's a lot to say, but because we hate this man so much. Leopold Genitz.
okay. So first off, the decision is really easy. The dude's a fucking priest. Like he's
Yeah,
blatantly
he's probably
like he is probably incredibly homophobic, and you can tell because. Well, I mean, he's definitely homophobic because if you're gay and you play the game, he fucking kills you.
Genitz hits different and not in a good way.
Yes.
Yeah, so he's another one of the very infamous SNK bosses. Horrible Tornado Man.
He is broken in every game he's ever been in.
Even in King of Fighters All-Stars, the mobile game, like most
Which
boss
is like a gotcha shit.
most boss characters are like real easy. Like even if you level them up and like get them to like max level, like there's gonna be someone who's gonna very easily take you down. Almost every single time you fight again, it's even if you have a team full of boss characters, you are on the edge of your seat because you're like, oh fuck, he's gonna pull out some shit.
When it comes to plot significance, he is one of the Hakeshu, who are basically heralds trying to bring back Hirachi.
He was essentially the leader, right?
I'm pretty sure. Mature and Vice also belong to that group, I believe.
Yeah, it's them and then the team in '97, which we will absolutely get to. And
new faces too.
Gaidel, Leona's father, who is unfortunately dead now. So like
Another
Genitz,
point,
I also want to point out how Genitz is a big fucking deal in KOF. He's the reason Kyo fights different now.
Oh god, that's right.
Oh yeah, like, you see, if you look at, like, for those not into, like, playing these games that much, if you look at, like, someone like Ryu from Street Fighter, his moves have been almost the same for basically his entire career, with the exception of his new kick that he got in Street Fighter 3.
Yeah.
He completely changed all his special moves and most of his supers in, King of Fighters 96.
Yeah, the reason is because, again, it's in KOF 94 and 95, he was more of a Ryu type. Then he got his ass beat by Genitz so fucking hard that he decided I need to change shit up. So that's KOF 96.
96. Now we move on to one with quite a few colorful characters. And we're going to start off with the very first individual character, John Cena's biggest fan, Shingo Yabuki.
Oh, good old
God
Shingo.
damn it. Shingo is constantly compared to like Dan Hibiki or Sean Matsuda from Street Fighter.
Oh god.
And I see the comparisons, but like I think he would body both of them at the same time.
Yes, especially Sean.
Because like here's the thing, yeah, Shingo sucks, but he sucks among KOF, which is different. The entire thing is that he can't copy Kyo's fire or style, so he compensates by just hitting you really fucking hard.
Yeah.
Is it fair to call Shingo a himbo?
Yeah. Is there?
I don't think it is, but I think he's not, one step away from a himbo.
He's not quite beefy. If he beefs up some, he'll be there.
Because when we talk about himbos, like the body type of a himbo is a hunk. But do we have anything for himbos that are twunks?
He's just a good dude we all like, I think.
Yeah, he's just a cute doofus. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I don't know what to call him on sexuality though. I don't know what direction to take this one.
Yeah, me neither. So like, I don't know. I just didn't think of him that way.
I don't know. We'll wait and see. I don't want to say like his idolization of Kyo is like a gay awakening or anything. I don't get that vibe from it.
I just don't think. I think he's more concerned about being like his idol. I think that's it.
Yeah.
So up next is a character who did come up a while back, Blue Mary.
And we're going to pair her with Ryuji Yamazaki because they're a part of a team that is missing.
Yeah, with Billy Kane.
Yeah.
Who we've got?
Yeah, because they were part of the special team. Because they actually got input in '97 from a fan vote in SNK's magazine. Like, which 3 characters do you want to see in '97? And the 3 winners were Billy Kane, Blue Mary, and Yamazaki.
Yeah.
Man, '97 has probably one of the most beloved casts in all of KOF. Now that I'm thinking about it.
It's so beloved that they brought back pretty much everyone in there for '98.
So yeah, let's start with Blue Mary.
Blue Mary, secret agent
we
lady.
did mention her earlier with Terry.
Yes.
Yeah, because she does have, as we mentioned, a sort of will they won't they going on with Terry, where they never quite get together, but they definitely like each other.
I'm gonna say she's bisexual.
I'll
Yeah,
also
that's
say
fair.
that.
She's buff as hell,
and
that's really cool.
And well, yeah, she is. Ooh, boy, is it. And
actually put a 6-pack on
gonna-
one of the girls. Congratulations, SNK. Thank you.
And I'm gonna say it's. It's mostly because she fucking loves Terry. I think it's very obvious. She calls him a handsome boy every time she gets the opportunity, which I really like. But like, I think, just due to her time on the secret agents team with Vanessa, I don't know. I just like to think. I don't know. They're really close gal pals though.
Yeah, I mean, if it's just the vibes, sometimes it's just the vibes, you know.
It's a vibe. I feel like if things don't follow through with Terry, I mean, Vanessa's there for her.
Ryuji, this character's a motherfucker and a half. He's basically a hitman.
All right, so
Boy, is he.
so here's one thing we need to put up front about Yamazaki. He has the blood of Orochi in him, and most people who have the blood of Orochi in them, who is not Orochi themselves, tend to go a little crazy in trying to control it. Now, Yamazaki is interesting in that by being so crazy, he's fully tapped into the Orochi power that's in him.
And he doesn't give a fuck about it.
Not at all.
Sometimes in that super where he just throws you on the ground and beats the living shit out of you with those like really fast punches, and a few of them, he's like foaming at the mouth when he does it. He's fucking nuts. I think he's straight, but I think it's another case like Geese where if you're with him, you've got to be the baddest bitch ever. Having said that, I like to crack shift him with Jury from Street Fighter.
Oh, yeah. Oh, totally.
I feel like
Nothing
those two would get along like bread and butter.
Now we have a very interesting team, mostly in that they're probably some of the more popular characters who have only shown up in one official game, and also we can only talk about 2 of them. So let's just get it out of the way. The New Face team, led by Chris. Chris is 14.
We're not going to
gonna
talk
spend
about
much time
Chris.
on that.
We're not talking about Chris.
Chris is a kiddo. Let's not spend time on that.
Instead of Chris, we will move on to someone, 1, way older, and 2, way more attractive and fun to talk about for many reasons. Shermie.
One of
Is-
my fave.
Is Shermie one of your favorites too, Cheese?
Yes, Shermie is up there. Shermie is just a fan favorite.
Yeah.
Shermie's one of my favorites too. Everyone loves this bitch. She's tied with another character we'll get to later for bustiest KOF character. She's bustier than Mai.
Yes.
You wouldn't think it looking at her, but she's totally a grappler.
She's a grappler in that what she uses aren't her arms, it's her legs.
She's got the Kurt Angle suplex and the Bayonetta legs to grapple you with all day.
Yes.
You gotta,
It is
and
incredible.
beyond that, she's got a sort of playful attitude to her.
Yes.
Oh, she's singing and dancing all the time.
Yeah.
She
It's
also...
worth noting, the New Faces team, as you know them, are also a band known as CYS.
Yes.
Yes. Chris, Yashiro, Shermie. And they are the direct rival, band of Iori's band. Shermie... Yeah, Shermie's absolutely not straight.
Nope.
Shermie fucking flirts with everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, very flirty, playful lady.
I fucking love how in SNK Heroines, if you pair her on a team with female Terry, she'll talk about, she's like, oh wow, you're still just as hot.
All right, well that baits the clinches it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, she does. She's like, oh man, I don't know which one's better.
It's also worth noting that two things, not super important, but still, just worth mentioning. One, she loves hamsters, and two, she's a fashion designer.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's got a lot going on. I think that's part of the reason why people love her so much. In fact, if you want to talk about this whole team, I feel like the New Faces team is probably one of the biggest cases of author regret in the entire KOF series.
Oh god, yeah.
Let's look at our third member, Yashiro Nanakase.
Yes.
Now this is a himbo.
This is a himbo. This man's such a himbo. He does breakdancing moves.
Yashiro is such a unique character design as well. You don't really see men built like him in a fighting game do what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got some surprisingly acrobatic moves for him being such a beefy character.
And both of his versions are really interesting gameplay-wise, like him and his Orochi version.
Right.
Yashiro's interesting because he's for as much screen time as he gets in 97, I'm not sure if there's really all that much to infer about him as a person,
Funnily enough, this is another character I think just has the vibes is probably not straight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Look at his outfit for one. Not to judge.
I think he might just be gay, or he could be bi with a male preference. I think either way, it's hard to go wrong. I just think either way, he's cool. And the final character of the Orochi saga, Orochi themselves.
Now, Orochi. Oh boy. So, to clarify, just to let everyone who doesn't know, Team CYS, Team New Face, they are literally responsible for bringing back Orochi. They sacrificed themselves to bring back this immortal snake god.
The seven heads of Orochi, led by Genetz, it was Mercure and Vice, Yamazaki, Gaidel, who's no longer with us, and himself, and these three fill in the gap. They're the last three. They curb stomp Team Japan.
Orochi is, without a doubt, the strongest King of Fighters character, period, because he is an immortal snake god. Yes.
Yeah. Like Team Japan won the tournament, but when they went Orochi, bro, it was too late. The curb stomp was incoming. They had to get the three sacred treasures to even stand a chance against them. So with Orochi, it's not going to be a sexual discussion. This character doesn't care.
Yeah.
This character would rather seeing humanity wiped off the face of the earth. I think what is interesting is the identity of Orochi.
I believe Orochi is officially genderless.
Orochi is officially referred to. Yeah, Orochi is officially referred to as a they.
Yes.
Now we go on out of the Orochi saga and into the next storyline saga of KOF.
Oh boy, it's time! It's time!
Oh yeah, you've been waiting for this one.
Yeah, three games instead of four, and also since we still have a good chunk of returning characters, we don't have to start with something like 94. But we're starting.
The most characters introduced in one of the new games is 7, and that's the most. So we're speeding through this.
So after the events of King of Fighters 97, Kyo vanishes. And at first, no one is sure where he's gone. And eventually, another King of Fighters tournament starts up, bankrolled by some mysterious company, which we learn to be known as Nests. And with Kyo seemingly missing, a new protagonist enters the scene. And this is our first character, and my personal favorite character in this entire damn series who I've been waiting for. A man known only as K-Dash.
Now, before we talk about the character himself, let's talk about why Kyo's gone, shall we? Because this is important.
Yes.
Kyo was kidnapped, as it turns out, by Ness, because they saw what happened in all the KOF tournaments, especially 97. They looked at Kyo and they're like, we want to take over the world. I feel like having an army of human flamethrowers would be beneficial to our goal of taking over the world. So they try to clone Kyo and his powers, but as it turns out, Kyo's fire is magic horseshit, and that's hard to replicate with science, right?
Yes.
So, failed experiment after failed experiment, of body after body of trying to replicate Kyo and what he can do. It was the entire Nest project, and all the other associated genetic experiments within. And K-Dash is, while he's not the most quote-unquote successful, he's certainly the one, with the most plot relevance to the eventual downfall of Ness. and he's probably the closest thing that they ever came to fully replicating Kyo.
Where Kyo was the classic sort of old-fashioned, like, hot-blooded, cocky protagonist, K-Dash is what happens at the end of the 90s, where now what's in are the sort of angsty, brooding protagonists. He's got amnesia, a mysterious past. Yes, this is the new shit.
Now this
is the Shadow the Hedgehog.
I was just gonna say that this is just Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah, it's not too different. As much as this is my absolute favorite character in the series, and a guy who I just can't help but think about all the time, he's not someone I put that much thought into this particular subject with.
Because I think he doesn't take well to it. I think he just wants to be left alone. He's another lone wolf character, kind of like Yuri.
Yeah.
I mean, there was even like a moment in KOF 13 where Mai was flirting with him, of all people. And he just like, he's like, no, you're annoying, leave me alone. You know, he's just being super broody and like, leave me alone more than anybody else I could think of than like other than Iori. So it's like, I don't think he's thought about it that much himself. I think he might just be Ace, if you ask me.
I could see that easy.
It is kind of weird because I have seen people ship him with Whip.
That sounds like an extremely bad idea for reasons we'll get to shortly.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, I can see why. So yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. But now let's talk about K-Dash's cool-ass partner.
Maxima, aka, is it 123 Omega? 132?
122, yeah.
Stop trying to make this Sonic.
Yes.
Now,
Maxima, he's the only Canadian in KOF.
He's the only Canadian.
Despite his official age only being like 28, he's one of the most dadly characters in the entire series.
Yes.
Oh yeah, or as I've always seen him, I've seen him like he's like the cool uncle.
Honestly, he actually even comes off sort of like a dad to a particular character later in the series. And plus, just look at the sideburns. Those are dad-ass sideburns.
Absolutely. In fact, I think that might be those are pretty Canadian sideburns as well. If I wasn't sure that if I didn't already know he didn't drink, I'd think he drinks past Blue Ribbon.
Oh god.
Maxima originally had himself turned into a cyborg in order to avenge his fellow soldier Rocky, who was killed by Nests. And he more or less busts in to start working to take them apart. And along the way, he meets K-Dash. And as K-Dash escapes, they become basically on the run together.
They become mercenary pals. Maxima is interesting because he still acts like a human, but every chance he gets, he's gonna remind you that he's also part robot.
Yeah.
Like, I think one of the cutest interactions in 13 was when Mai offered to make him a bunch of sweets because she found out that he likes sweets, and he's like, "Oh, sure." I thought that's adorable. Like the idea that this big robot man just likes pancakes and shit.
He's a surprisingly soft character if you look at it. A lot of it is more like personal moments.
He also hates it when people call him the dad of the characters on his team because he's like, please don't tell people that, please.
It's probably half because I'm not even that old. Because like I said, as much as he is he's only like his official age he's 29, but he's
like my age.
But yeah, he's like a very daddish character in mannerisms too. But he's very much a caretaker and everything. He's the level-headed one of the group. So what's the verdict on him sexually? I mean, like, he's still very much a human, like, in mind, but, like, he's a robot. I consider him human apart from just being part mechanical parts. So, like, beyond that, the only reason I believe he hasn't really gotten the chance towards that sort of thing is because he's literally on the run from like, various screwed up organizations.
Yeah, his relationship, him and K-Dash's relationship with like Heidern's fleet, for example, is very much a temporary truce sort of thing because normally I think they'd be trying to hunt them both down.
Yeah.
So I think it would be, might be fair to say like he's either. I think like whether he's straight or bi, whatever. I think as of right now, since he hasn't really had the time to think about it, I think either no matter what relationship he'd be in, it'd be platonic maybe.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, it's not something that becomes part of his character as of now, just because of his life.
Next, we got someone whose name is probably not what it's listed as, but that's what everyone calls her, Whip.
Whip is, I think her actual name is Sarah, or I think that's it, right?
Sarah? Yeah,
Sarah,
no, I'm just gonna let's just stick with Whip.
Whip is what she's generally called.
Whip is interesting because Whip is technically K-Dash's sister, but it's not the same person. It's a clone, right?
Oh, that's weird.
Right.
Yeah, because they killed K-Dash's like actual sister in the Nest's like compounds and stuff, and they used her DNA and made like who she is now. So it's not technically the same person. I don't think she has any of the old memories of like K-Dash's sister. It's just she's made from her DNA.
But in some way, like they do almost kind of treat each other like that anyway.
Yeah, they do act like brother and sister. In fact, Whip does gravitate more towards K-Dash, but not for reasons you would expect. I'm gonna say it right now. Whip's a freak.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because like there's a lot of stuff in there's some quotes that are her like trying to imply that just because she uses a whip, she's not like into it as a sexual thing. But like at the same time, like she does use the whip.
Yeah.
Not only does she use the whip, she has named her whip. She fondles her whip, and one of her moves, she is dragging you to her with her whip, stomping on your neck, and doing the noblewoman laugh. So I don't want to hear that she's not into it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say she's bisexual with a female preference. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's mostly a vibe, but like I don't know. I feel like she wouldn't. I feel like she doesn't discriminate no matter what. If she's into you, she's into you. Yeah, I can tell you who she's not into. Ralph.
Yeah.
Their relationship is really funny, but I don't see it as romantic.
I mean, she is, but like it's funny that she's not.
We will only say this character's name and not talk about them. Bao, the small young boy who was adopted by Chin earlier.
Yeah, he's 10.
He's 12, but yeah, it's same difference.
Yeah, they're moving on.
Moving
But
on.
the next one is a fun character.
Li Jiangfei.
Straight from Real About Fatal Fury 2.
And she's the character who made it in over Rick Stroud. I'm so fucking mad. Li Jiangfei. She's an antagonistic waitress from a restaurant who like eats a lot, and that's almost her entire character is that she eats a lot and is loud. I'm gonna say she's a lesbian.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I've only ever seen her interact on any meaningful level with other girls, and she was on the women's fighters team. Was it in this game or 2000?
It was this game. She wasn't actually playable in 2000.
Okay, so yeah, so it was 99. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna say lesbian on this one.
Here's a bit of a wild card. Jun-hoon.
Yeah, Kim decided that his rehabilitation program was just fine, but apparently he needed some extra help to rein these two in, so he brought in Jun-hoon.
Yeah, an old friendish, rivalish person. Quite a technical fighter, or multiple stances, is quite competent. And he has like a sort of long-haired, pretty boy look to him, and he generally seems very serious and sort of mysterious until you find out that he's a gigantic Idol fan, and of Athena in particular.
Yeah, he's a J-pop stan, yeah. He is also very cocky. He fights with like one hand behind his back.
Considering his general, like, the whole, like, pop star thing, he's either incredibly straight or incredibly gay. I don't think there's a middle ground for him.
Yeah, no, I agree. He was really fucking excited, I think, in, it was either in one of the games or it was one of the, like, side, like, non-canon things where he actually got to, I think it was KOF All-Stars, actually, where he was really excited to actually meet Athena.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, I think you're correct. There is no middle ground, and I'm going to side on the incredibly gay on this one.
Yeah, me too.
That's fair. Mm-hmm.
I mean, if he did turn out to be straight, I mean, that also, I guess, wouldn't surprise me. But, like, I feel like there's a reason Kim is reluctant to bring him in.
And so that's the normal new playable characters. Let's meet King of Fighters 99's boss, who's also my personal favorite boss in this series.
And also one of the most frustrating bosses in SNK history as well.
Another truly brutal one.
Mr. Jockstrap himself, Chrysalid.
Yeah, his
theme is so iconic. Sakurai put it in Smash.
He is another one of Nest's experiments in the same vein as K-Dash, but he is a much more advanced one theoretically. And in addition to having like his copy, because that's the experiment that K-Dash had. He ended up with Kyo's flame powers, his own version of that. Chrysalid has similar power, but is at least on the surface it seems he's more powerful, and he considers himself to be more powerful, to be basically the perfection of what K-Dash is, where K-Dash is simply a failed prototype, more or less.
Yes.
He also has that thing. He also has that thing that all the other Nest bosses have, where their cloak is also a weapon. It's like it's very Spawn.
Oh yeah.
The difference is, like, after the first round of the fight, Chrysalid just cooks his entire jacket to pieces and
he wants to show you how nice his leather is.
Yeah, I was about to say, spends the whole rest of the thing in some sort of leather BDSM getup. It's kind of out there.
Yeah, it is. None of the other Nest bosses do that.
This is another one of those characters where I feel like I don't have enough in the way of his interactions to basically because all of his interactions are very much I'm the boss, I'm gonna kick your ass.
I'm gonna say gay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, from the outfit, that's completely.
You have to be that confident, I think.
Yes.
Yeah,
especially
that.
if you're gonna burn your cloak just to show it off.
That was an expensive looking coat too. Like,
Man,
you got
because like look at that leather. That's some Voldo shit.
Yes.
So that's KOF 99.
Now
Also,
we-
probably one of my favorite game in this trilogy, KOF 2000.
2000.
Oh, man. This is
And-
my favorite King of Fighters game. Let's start with some new teammates. Because see, in King of Fighters 99, K-Dash and Maxima, as you can see, there's only two of them. They actually teamed up with Bennymaru and Shingo.
So
This time they get two new team members who are new to the
Yep.
series.
Ramon and Vanessa. Yeah, they're a pair of secret agents, but with very sporty fighting styles. Ramon being a wrestler, specifically a luchador, but with the sort of running wrestling moves in the vein of Rey Mysterio, I believe is the name that usually comes up.
Booyaka,
Ben.
booyaka.
Yeah. it's-
It would not be out of place to see Ramon in AAA.
And then meanwhile, Vanessa is another secret agent, but she's a boxer with a lot of fast-paced jabs and sways and moves taken directly from Rick Stroud, which I'm sure you're mad about.
I mean, considering like normally I would be, but it's Vanessa, so I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah, you know, and they are cool moves. Rick Stroud's a character
Yes.
from Real About Fatal Fury 2 who was considered for King of Fighters but never quite made it.
Listen, I'm more than happy with Vanessa.
Yeah, me too.
So like, let's start with Ramon.
He kind of chases after Vanessa, but Vanessa's kind of already married, so she just kind of thinks it's silly.
yeah.
Ramon is what I would call aggressively straight.
Yeah.
He's a charming person. He's just going after the wrong lady.
Also,
Yeah, I mean, even-
It's almost Johnny Bravo-esque.
Yeah, there's even a character in King of Fighter 14 who literally says like the man who professes his love for married women, is just like and does just kind of make fun of them. I believe Luong said that to him. As for Vanessa, well, as you mentioned, she's married and with a kid who we don't see because obviously she's a secret agent. She doesn't let her personal life get involved in King of Fighter stuff.
We do at least know her husband's name, and her husband's name is Butch, which makes me imagine that he's like the manliest motherfucker on the planet. Vanessa is she's a very Ara type woman.
yes.
She is a mother, so that's kind of expected, but like she likes to play it up with people, especially like characters who are younger than her. Like she's I don't know how else to say this. She just fucking flirts with Rock in 14.
Happy MILF Monday, everyone.
She's married. She's married, so my initial reaction is to say straight, but like I think I don't know. She could be bi, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, she's got like that kind of tough vibe to her that makes me kind of question it.
She's
Out
like
there
very
sleeveless.
She acts like the older sister to like most of the KOF cast, because a lot of the KOF women are like young women.
Yeah.
So like, and also fun fact about Vanessa, she's the first female winner of a KOF tournament.
Oh, is that so? Oh,
Yeah,
because she's on K-Dash's team, and I guess they won that year. That makes sense.
Yeah, so
Good
she's
for
the
her.
first queen. She's the first queen of fighters.
Next, up next is Lin. Lin is a character I think is really cool, just gameplay wise. Like, this is cool. He's like this poison assassin, but also he's basically just like a murderous assassin. He's another one of those characters I can't even like think about.
He's one of those characters that I have a hard time thinking about because there just really isn't much there.
Yeah, he's a character I mostly like for like aesthetic and gameplay reasons. He doesn't have a ton in the way of personality apart from like being a sneaky assassin guy.
I do think that it's interesting how he introduced poison, and like that would later be like a few other fighting games would do that. Like they would give another poison thing to like Yamazaki in 14, and then there's Fong from Street Fighter 5, and there's a handful of others from other games, but like I think it started with him. So Lin, there really isn't much to say because I don't think he likes other people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
That whole the whole Hizoku clan are like weird like assassin hermits, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just really unfortunate for Lin, because I would like to see him in another game, but unfortunately Dulan exists, and he's just way cooler. Also, he's like aggressively ugly compared to most KOF characters.
Kinda, yeah. He looks like he's got poison running through him. If that makes sense.
I don't want to be mean, but he just looks like it, you know? Going from an ugly character to an aggressively handsome character, Seth. Seth is another character I think
sorely needs a return to the series. He's so cool,
sure.
and there's so much that they haven't touched on with like that sort of team. Just make a secret agents team with him, Mary, and Vanessa again.
Yeah.
I don't think he's married or anything. I think he likes. The only thing I know for sure about Seth, other than that he's like a cool guy, is that he likes chinchillas and wine.
According to the wiki, he does seem to have a wife and child, but I can't find like a link about it. So maybe.
Just have to take their word for it, I guess.
Another one of those characters where something about the vibe makes me think not straight. I think it's just like a mixture of the hair and like the outfit. Like,
Yeah, he's certainly, he looks unique too among the KOF cast. I think he's the first character since Lucky to he's just a black character.
next on the list, Hinako.
Hinako Shijo.
Yes.
Another favorite of mine, only in that I just love the idea of this cute little rich lady also being a sumo wrestler.
No, Hinako is like, she's up there in terms of raw strength in the KOF cast. She's
Yes.
like Chang level strong, which is like scary.
Because again, she's tiny.
You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Hinako is sumo sexual.
Yeah, that's a thing that we brought up like before when talking about E Honda, because E Honda is not straight or gay despite, you know, being a sumo wrestler and being around half naked dudes, because sumo wrestlers bring people in. They bring in all sorts of people.
Yeah, have you ever watched like a Japanese crowd watch a live sumo match? It's interesting because it's like most of the time they're quiet, and then the match actually for like all the rituals and the posturing and all that. But then when the match fucking starts, the fucking lid off of whatever stadium they're in blows off, and I think Hinako's the same way. So it's like I feel like she wouldn't settle for anything less than a sumo wrestler, whether they be like male or female, because Hinako's breaking societal norms by doing what she's doing. There isn't an established female sumo league in Japan. It's mostly just amateur wrestling. So Hinako to do what she does with that level of proficiency is impressive. But like, I gotta ask, what is it with these fighting games doing that, where they pair like the pretty blonde fighter girl with like sumos? Because they did this in Tekken too. Like, Lily is fascinated with Gonryu for whatever reason. It's like I think Lily's mostly gay because Asuka, but like they always bring it up that she's really into Gonryu too. So it's like, so that's Hinako.
Yes. One moment before we continue. We are going on quite a while, and it's kind of cutting
We're almost
into...
done, though.
We're almost done, but it's also kind of cutting into real world things like dinner, and then I have a stream like shortly after dinner.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
So we're gonna have to like speed through this a little bit, which is funny because next we've got Kula, and we can't really talk about her.
Yeah, cool is like 15. There's nothing we're gonna do with that. All right, so
the only thing I'm gonna talk about is that why, out of all of the fucking KOF characters, did they put her in DOA?
Yeah.
I don't even want to think about that. Or in SK or
that just makes no sense.
Fucking mad. But there is one thing about Kula I really love. I love that she just has a huge fucking family around her at all times.
Yes.
Like she views K-Dash as the older brother. Maxima's like her dad/uncle. She has moms.
She does have
moms.
We'll
get to that in a second.
And she views Whip as a big sister too. She loves her.
Yeah. Then there's the boss of this game, who's honestly not super memorable. He is introduced in this game as Zero, later kind of like sort of relabeled as Clone Zero. As it turns out, he's a clone of the original Zero. But other than that, he's just a boss. He's a boss who you fight and you beat, or he beats you because it's an SNK boss. And he posed as one of Heidern's men for a while. I think he actually like betrayed Ness and built like a giant super laser that wiped Southtown off the face of the earth, but it got better. So
he did. Yeah, he just destroys Southtown and then it gets better. And if you want to tie it in with Fatal Fury canon, that could be the entire reason why Kane acquires so much power, because he helps rebuild it.
If you want a judgment on Clone Zero sexuality, look at his mustache.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah, no argument here.
King of Fighters 2001, next game.
Next game,
okay,
2001. So first we have Mei Lee, a character who replaces Jun Hoon because he unfortunately breaks his leg.
Well, he's always hopping on it.
Yes. Now, the thing about Mei Lee that I really like, and it's only like one design thing, is that she's got a thing for Super Sentai heroes, specifically like Kamen Rider.
Yeah, Melee is a big tribute to Kamen Rider, among other things. In addition to her Taekwondo stances, she also has a long red scarf and flying kicks similar to Kamen Rider. The tribute's pretty obvious.
She's a Sentai-ass Sentai.
She's got a rider belt.
She has a stance where if you go in it, she's super heroic and flashy, but she can't fucking block.
Oh, yeah.
And she's loud. She's loud and brash. Like, if there's anyone, like, if you thought Kim was dedicated to justice, well, she literally acts like a superhero. So
Mei-Lee's just like a really cute girl. I think. But what do we infer on her sexuality, though?
I think
Is there anything?
I'm going to throw this out there. I say lesbian.
Really?
yeah, that's fair.
Okay. I could see that too.
I also consider this Kamen Rider is just like the live-action version of Magical Girls, and we've already established that Magical Girls aren't straight. So
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah. Okay. I got no arguments here. Maybe bi, but probably lesbian.
Yes.
Up next, another new group of characters.
It's the next original team, full team of people.
Well, it's not full because this is a 4-person team, but I believe they just dragged Yuri in there somehow. Is that how filled that one
they
out?
whipped. I think so. It was no.
Was this the one with
they,
no, this is the one
this
with
is-
Kula.
No, they put it was Kula. Yeah. So Kula's on a team with Foxy.
And Diana. Can't forget her.
Diana is not playable, but she is in the background, and you can't really talk about Foxy without her because they're. I'm just gonna say it. They are Kula Diamond's gay moms.
Yes.
Cool as Diamond's gay ass moms. It really is a shame that Diana was never playable because they were planning to do that. It just never came to fruition. And they're also like the last remnants of like nests, like of people fighting against nests, I believe. Or now they like took or I think they seized a bunch of assets after nests fell and everything, and they're using it to like wipe out the rest. It's like no, they give a shit.
So,
Yeah.
next.
K49. That's spelled K9999, pronounced K49. This
Now-
character
Also-
is you ever hear of a little anime movie called Akira?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. What's it about?
That's a long story, but there's a character in it named Tetsuo. This is who K49 is. It is blatant. It is not even subtle. This character is in fact so much like a Tetsuo that SNK has basically removed him from canon. You will never see him again, ever.
Yeah, never. And the funniest part about that is that the guy who wrote Akira doesn't see that. Like, they asked him about this once, I think, like, it was recently as like a year or two ago, and he's like, oh, that's fine. I don't care. Sure. And this isn't even the first KOF character that's directly based off a character from Akira. Kyo is fucking based off of Kaneda.
Yeah.
But as far as, like, sexuality, I think K49 I think he's a loser.
Yeah, kind of.
I think there is exactly one person in the whole cast that's kind of interested in him, but we'll never know because we'll never see him again. And speaking of that character,
Let's meet Angel. Written like Angel, pronounced Angel because she's Mexican. Another
Angel.
very attractive, let's say, character.
Yes.
A fan favorite because of it.
Angel's the
Well,
fucking
it's
best, man.
As well as another character for fans of professional wrestling, even with the super that is straight up the Rock's people's elbow.
Yeah.
And she has the rock bottom as well. She even does the run across the screen the same way the Rock would in the ring. It's great. Like she loves pro wrestling, and she was so good at wrestling, they put her in a team with 2 wrestlers in KOF 14. And also a thing about her is that she's another character like Shermie, she kind of flirts with everybody.
Yes.
She acts like a cat most of the time.
She's got a little noise with some of her moves, and she's got a very just playful attitude. And
If Shermie is like a cat, Anel is like that cat who like snuggles against you and then bites your fucking hand really hard
Yeah. Yeah.
for no reason. But I would say I'm gonna say she's bi.
Bye.
Yeah,
Fuck.
Both. Yeah. Bi or pan. It's like if she's interested in you, she's interested in you.
Next, we have probably design-wise, at least, my favorite of the 2 bosses, Zero.
we mentioned Clone Zero before. This is the original. He's got the same like sort of big swooshy cape as Clone Zero, but instead of like being a weird guy with a porn stash, he now looks sort of like K-Dash and Chrysalis.
He's also really, I think I agree with Cheese. He might be my favorite out of the Nest bosses.
At least
he's also not an
design wise.
He's also not an asshole.
He's not an asshole, no.
Like when he loses, he's like, no, you did good. You beat me. Go ahead.
A graceful loser for once.
Other
than that, again, another boss who's mostly just a villain boss.
And there's not really much you can say about him. There is slightly more to say about the boss, the final boss of the Nest saga, Ignis.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about that much, but 2001 is like... KOF 2000 is the last game that was made by the original SNK. After that, they kind of folded, became SNK Playmore, and this was made by Ialon, a different company that they outsourced this game for, and it kind of shows. And Ignis, however, is absolutely an SNK boss, though.
Let's get this out of the way. Let's bring this truth up to the front. Ignis is voiced by Norio Wakamoto, the same man who voices M. Bison and Cell from Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, he is a villain-ass villain.
Big time villain, and his inspirations and his reasons for being evil aren't all that much. He fancies himself a human god, but like you hardly ever see that type of person who has like a hot ass wife.
Yeah.
He's a pretty boy, and he's also like 60, but he looks 20.
And then the protagonist beat him, and that was the end of lovable Ignis.
And that is the end of the Nest saga, but we have one final character, because 2002 is yet another dream match. We have the character who ends up replacing K49 and is arguably cooler looking, Nameless.
But with the code name Z Prime.
Oh, that's cool.
He's in this sort of like canon limbo right now, since technically the game is not canon, but he has his own story to him. His own backstory that covers some of the same space as K49, but also has some unique aspects to it.
Yeah, he's not a 1-for-1 remake. He's less canon than K49 is, but K49 will never show up again. So whether or not we'll see Nameless again, who fucking knows? I don't know.
He does have a love interest, a girl named Isolde who... Isolde? I don't know how to pronounce
Isolde,
that.
I think.
She's kind of dead.
Yeah, she was another unfortunate casualty of the Nest experiments, and it was a lot more intimate on this case because I believe he actually was seeing her at the time. So,
definitely into women. Obviously, I'm not sure if he will find love again or not, but he seems pretty attached to her.
It is almost Heidern-esque how much he kind of has trouble getting over her. So, I think he's just straight. I think he's probably... No, you take that back. He's the saddest straight in the KOF cast.
Yes,
we found the saddest straight man we have.
Ow, the edge.
Ow, the edge. And
I think that wraps it up for the Nest saga and for this video, right?
That is one half of the King of Fighters cast, and considering it took this long to go through them, that's saying a lot for how many characters are in here. Final thoughts, you first, Keegan, about these characters that we've gone through.
Well, first off, I love King of Fighters. That's why you brought me on in the first place. And I think the cast is really interesting and lovable. And even like some of the characters where I don't have much to say, I think they're still cool characters with neat designs. But,
yes.
And I think very few of them are straight, except for the extremely straight ones. So.
Yes.
I think there are very few straight people in fighting games in general. It just works out that way.
I'm going to mirror those sentiments. I think that a lot of characters are like either in an established relationship or have very established interests, whether or not they end up being straight, bisexual, pansexual, what have you. But it's always interesting because KOF has probably my favorite cast of characters in any fighting game ever. I love all of these characters with all my heart, and I was super happy to talk about them.
Thank you for having me on.
Anytime.
We're happy to have you. Also, do you have any plugs since we're here?
Yes, plug anything you got.
Not today.
Oh, okay.
I do have a plug, and it is related to
it's
SNK.
It's a very important one.
Hey, if you're like me and you would like your beloved fighting game series or just favorite series to not be tainted by blood money from a hostile foreign dictator, why don't you let SNK know about it? Because there's still time. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, SNK is currently on the fast track to being bought out by the Saudi prince Mohammed bin Salman and his company, and he will soon have controlling stock in SNK and a voice on the board of directors, which means that KOF and all the SNK series that you like will be directly
any money you give towards those projects will be giving money directly to him and his murderous regime. So if you would like SNK to know how much you disapprove of that, like me, and how much this is going to affect your support of them, because I, for instance, I'm not, as much as I'm excited for KOF 15, I cannot in all good conscience support it as someone who's LGBT. Let them know. I'll have a link. I'll have Cheese put a link in the description for anybody who wants to put their voice heard and let SNK know directly how bad of an idea this is. I mean, because it's not too late. The deal doesn't go through until March, so there's a month. You have a month to let SNK know.
There is still a chance of them flaking. I hear that there's a sort of history of that, so this is not hopeless.
Yeah,
yeah.
So just let them know, because and there's already been a significant outcry so far, but don't let up. Let them know, and just follow this link that we'll put here on the screen or in the description or however Cheese will do it.
Yeah.
And and don't be afraid. Like I'm gonna do it, and you should do it too if you care about SNK like we do.
Let's just hope that I get this done before March.